Hello everyone. In this video, we will cover basically creating details master or main table forms. And if you have been doing coding or developing, if you are experienced in developing in AX 2012, so this style of form is basically replacing the list page, and it also separates the details form that is used for main table. For example, if you are aware of vendors main table or customers main table, or for that matter products main table. So list page are basically now no more, and those are deprecated or made obsolete. And this is a little bit confusing, but there are basically two views of a form at the same time, so that will serve for both purposes, that is a main table form or a list page form. So, but once you are used to of this, then you will be definitely knowing how it works. So basically, the pattern we'll be following here in this recipe will also support us in simplifying the process, and also it will recall if we have basically forgot any of the step. And we'll be basically continuing the design of form for the main table here. And if you remember, in previous recipe we have created multiple tables, and we have so far covered form for resort parameters and resort group and resort table, and then there are booking lines and table which will be covered in the final step. But for now we will be covering the resort table, which will contain basically the resort name. If I can open the table, you can see there are multiple fields. One is resort ID, then name of the resort, group ID, and there were types of resort, and registry number, that will be property registry basically, and then acquisition date for that property or that resort. So that will be covered. And what we can do is just start with adding a new form here as well. Just go to the add by right clicking on the project and a new item, and then select the user interface node which is already there, and just select the form. And in the similar manner in which we have covered the previous examples as well, just give it a name like resort table. To make it same name, just we have created our table, so we'll just give it a name resort table. So again the panes will be opened. At the top level there will be a design pane, and then on the left hand side basically multiple the pane with the multiple nodes. Basically a form is displayed, and the form methods, event, data source, and parts. At the bottom level, pattern and preview basically is available in the bottom pane. And so now what we can do is we can just drag and drop our resort table, just we have followed in the same manner in our previous example. So once we have drag and drop, so the fields which are existing in that table will be shown to us. And then what we can do is uh, on the data source level we will set few properties, and that will be insert if empty and insert at the end. So insert at the end is by default yes, we'll make it no, so that a new row is not added, or empty row is not added. So empty blank row, and we will just make it no. And then next, definitely the caption property, that will be on the design caption, and we'll just copy our table label. Just go to the label property that is at the top, just copy this one, and in the caption, just place here. Now what we can do is just select the design node, and then data source need to be resort table. Title data source again need to be the resort table. So these two properties are now set here, and now we can apply our pattern as already it is showing unspecified. So just we'll I'm not sure why it is showing like resort table is, just let me check it. Resort table label is shown here as a resort table. So basically it should be, if you can see the example from for example cust table, what they are showing, basically we can go to the label here, just open the label file. We need to be consistent, so here it is shown as customers, so we will also make it as a resorts. So just go to the resort table here and make it resorts. I think this was a mistake previously. Just give it a name of resort, and now if you go, so now it is appearing correctly after closing and opening the form again. And now what we can do is right click the design node and apply the pattern which is details master pattern. So just find it. So details masters with the standard tabs and simple detail master. So I will select details master, and now, so as required by this pattern, we need to add an action pen as well. Just right click over the design, and then select the new and go to the action pen. Okay, and there will be only one action pen. Just remove the digits at the end, and once you have added this make it form action pen only, remove the control as well. Once we have added this, also we need a group control which is navigation list group here. Just right click and over the design node and go to the new and select the group control as well. Okay, once we have put the, so we will just put this as navigation list group. So basically this section will be used in a details view, so that the user can change records without going back to the list view. So in the navigation list group, in the navigation list group also we will follow the simple list pattern. So what we can do is we can create a quick filter control by right clicking navigation list group, go to the new and then quick filter, just remove the digits at the end. Quick filter will be also navigation quick filter, just rename it. And then also we need to create a list style grid control. So we'll just add a grid control our navigation list group. So go to the new and select the grid here and also name it as navigation grid. So in the navigation grid also, if you remember in our previous training video, we have set the data source property. So here also we just need to set the resort table as data source property, and then we need to add here the resort ID and name fields by dragging them from the fields node of data source. So just open the data source and find here the resort ID and the name and drag and drop over the grid control. So we have already now done it. We need to keep a number of fields as few, although we can add as many as we can, but we'll just keep it few because this information will be presented in the presentation of cards on the left hand side of the form. So it is only intended to allow the user to select a record without them having to navigate back to the main list view of the form. So then we need to complete the quick filter control. So just go to the quick filter and go to the properties here. You can see the target control property, which will be grid here, navigation grid, and then default column, which whatever we need to as per our desires. We'll select a resort ID as a default column. Now once we have done this, just go to the design and we can see here still the panel tab is missing. So what we can do is we need to create a tab control here. Just right click over the design node, go to the new and go to the tab control. Just add the tab control, and for this tab control just give it a name like panel tab. So here what we can see is we have a tab page for the details panel and the list panel. The system basically controls the pages that are visible for us. Now add a tab page. Basically inside the tab control we need to add the missing parts, which are details panel, which is basically tab page control, and the other one is grid panel, which is also a tab page control. So we need to add these two tab pages. So just right click over it and add the tab pages. So once we have done, so the missing information has gone, and we just need to give them a proper name. Just give it a name like details panel tab page. The other one will be list panel tab page. Just move the other one above and details panel. So now the list panel tab page, first we need to complete it. So we are seeing that there is a title group missing and details tab missing here. So as required by this pattern, we will add a group control and a grid control to this tab page. So there will be a group control and a grid control. So now two controls are placed. So give it a name. For example, group control will be like list, quick, filter, group, and the grid control will be like list, grid. So it is basically showing me error. Just let me remove it. Showing that list panel tab page need to have a group control and a tab, details tab basically. So list quick filter, this is a group control, and there need to be let me change the sequence here. Let me remove it. So basically first we have created list, uh, basically list panel tab page need to be first, and details panel tab page need to be okay. Details panel need to be first, and list panel tab need to be second one. And also check at the top level, yes, it is already complete. Now what we can do is list panel tab page, we need to first complete this one. So what we can do is just add a grid control, sorry, a group control here. Okay, once we have, and just give it a name like list quick filter group. Okay, after this then we need to add a grid control as well. Okay, and rename this to be list grid. Now the two controls are already placed. Now in the list grid control we need to select the data source property to be resort table, and data group need to be overview, which we have already created in the previous training session. Okay, and now list quick filter group, which we need to complete in the same manner we have covered for simple list pattern. So we can apply the custom and quick filters pattern. Just first right click over here and go to the apply pattern and select the custom and quick filter here. Okay, once we have applied this, then we can add a quick filter control. Just right click over it, go to the quick filter. Quick filter is here, and this will be list quick filter. And now list quick filter need to basically refer to grid control, basically, which we have named here as a list grid. So in the list quick filter, just go to the target control and select here the list grid, which we have already created here. and named it as a list grid. So now list panel tab page, basically list panel tab page is only showing that main grid is missing, the remaining one are now completed, so the main grid is missing here, which is basically a command button control. So we need to add a command button to list panel tab page, name and also name it. So just right click it, go to the new and select a command button, and in the command button just give it a name like list grid default action button. And now you can see that all steps are now completed in this pattern. Select other nodes if there is something missing. And now on the list grid control, basically we can go to the properties and select a property which is called default action property. Basically, yes, this one default action property, and here we can select our new command button called list grid default action button, that need to be selected here. And now we need to move to the details panel pattern element. So for that need to select details panel tab page here, and now we have completed this list panel tab page, so we'll just minimize and expand our details panel tab page, and what we can do is we need to add a group control first of all, and then tab control. So just right click over it, add a new group control, and rename this group control to be details title group. And here what we can do is we can add a string control as well. So just right click over details title group and go to the string control, which will be in S. We can just rename it as details header title for the heading title basically, and we can set the property here which is data source property to the resort table, and here also data method, that is a display method, need to be selected, that is a title fields. So basically that is a built-in method title field. So once I have selected this details header title and selected the title fields method here, so next what we can do is basically this is a system provided data method that uses the title field property from the table, and we can also write down our own display method, which we are not writing here. But if I can show you on the table level, there are title field 1 and 2. So these are title fields, and this system based method is basically using this property. What we can add next is details tab is missing here. So what we can do is just add a tab control here. Just right click over details panel tab page, go to the new and just add a tab control and give it a name like details panel tab page. No, before that we need to add a details tab. Okay, and then inside details tab we need to add a tab page. That tab page need to have name like details panel tab page. So basically and here I have added a page and tab page and panel tab page. Okay, so this is already existing. Details panel tab page is already there. It is basically, let me just remove this one and also this one. We'll repeat the steps here. So basically details panel tab page is here and list panel tab page is here. In details panel tab page we need to add another tab. So we'll just right click this. Okay, we'll just add a tab control here and name this tab control as details tab. And here we can add a new tab page and this tab page will have name like details tab general. Okay, and now we'll apply fields and field group pattern here. So just right click over it, apply pattern fields and field group. The first tab page is usually named this and shows key information about the record. Create a label basically now for general resort details and we need to use the label as caption property. So we can find a caption property here and we can create a label here. Just create a label like general resort details, put it in ID as well and remove the spacing and capitalize. So just copy this and go details table journal and go to the caption here, put this as a caption. And now what we can do is we need to drag the details field group from our resort table data source. So what we can do, just go to the field group on the left hand side and there is a details field group and just drag it to the details table journal. We can reorganize these fields as desired, but for now I will keep it same. But if you want to reorganize, just use alter and up arrow or down arrow for reorganizing it. For now I will just leave it here. So if you need to add any of the new fields or field groups, so you can just refresh the data source and for that just right click over it and right click over the data source and just press the restore so that new changes will be reflected. For now we have not added anything, so we will not be restoring. So this is it so far, and just save it and for double checking just check all of the nodes. So if there is anything missing or not, need to be double checked. I hope there is nothing missing now, although this was a little bit lengthy exercise, but I hope you have got it. Okay, now what we can do, create a menu item. Just right click and add a new item, and that will be a display menu item. Just give it a name like PKR resort table. Okay, once we have just go to the resort table, and in the resort table just copy the label here from here, and in our menu item label property just place the label there. And then as we can see that there is a object type and object property here. Object type is already form, which is correct, and we need to just select our name of the object as resort table. And then what we can do is on the table level, form ref property need to be set. Form ref, just put it as resort table form. Okay, now just go to the display menu item, and here you can see there will be a form view option. Yes, this form view should not be auto, and there are certain options like grid, details, header, hub. So we'll just select here grid, so that grid view will be visible from the form view option. So this will show a list view when the form is open, and we have completed form ref property as well. And now just we need to open the menu of resort management, and in resort management just open the resort sub menu, and drag and drop our display menu in the resort sub menu. So in this way we have completed our setup sub menu, and also we have completed our resort menu, display menu and form, which was a little bit complex one. And next we'll also be completing booking orders as well. So so far we have completed this one, and we can just build it and just see our changes to be reflected. Just we need to open the browser once again once the build is completed. So there is one more thing left here. So we are not basically using any special create form to create a new resort. So basically D365 will just add record when we will be using the current form view. So if the form view is grid view, it will just add a new record or line to the grid, which is not a good great experience at the end, and basically it will not have all the required fields. That's why. And by creating only showing a few fields is not a great experience. So we need to just tell the form to basically change to details view whenever a new record is created. So what we can do is just we need to right click on the method for the main table, which is our resort table in our case, and we'll just override a method called create. So basically we need to just go to the form level, go to the method and override here, and you can see that there is a create method. Just override it over the data source level, and now you can see that an overridden method is in front of us. Just remove the documentation if you need to fulfill the documentation. It's up to you. It's better to fulfill that one as well. And here before the super call, just we need to add element which is referring to our form, and just click a period and then view option helper method, and then set view option. There we need to pass an enum form view option, and that need to be details, and that's it. So this will make sure that the view option will turn to the details one whenever creating a new record. So just close everything, build. So now after building our project, we can go to the resort management module, and here you can see now in submenu of resort we can see a resort menu item. Just open this one, and now you can see a grid view which does not show any records for now because there were no records entered so far. So just create a new, and once you create a new, you can see a details view is now available. So I will just for example I will put number as a resort ID, and I will put a resort on XYZ cost, and in the resort group I can select a resort group here. So I will select a coastal, and resort type will be luxury, and resort type will be for example a beach, and these are all enums if you remember, and registry number I will just for example put any here for an example, and acquisition date I can for example put a previous date here. So I can just save it. So once I save it, I can just add another one if I would like, and that will be 2, and resort on island for example, and just select that is also coastal, and super luxury, and island resort type, put any number here, acquisition date, save it. Okay, and here you can see uh, just click here on the resorts, and you can see a grid view available, and now it is showing all of the option here which we have just entered. So in this way we have completed our resort main table, and that is also working whenever we are editing it or adding a new one, so that is basically shown to us. And this is how we have completed this example. If you have any feedback, just let me know. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Take care. Bye bye.